pretty funny. So before I dive into things, let's give it back to Sonara Brown. That was Dino. I have heard her train and train and train, and that was by far the best training I have ever heard you give, and I've heard you a million times. So I'm going to tell you guys a story going back to where Sonara and I met. So it was Utah, and it was a senior director retreat at my previous company, and I had heard about Sonara Brown. We were in the same lineage, but she was part of, we had the same upline, but we weren't part of the same team. And she came in like guns a-blazing, as you can imagine, anything she does. And I couldn't wait to meet her. So we were at the senior director retreat. My good friend Dana Nicholson was also with us there. And I remember I could not wait. I could not wait to meet her. And I met Krista there as well. And we were all in round tables, and the round table topic at my table was recruiting. And Dana was at that table with me, and Sonara came over and sat down, and she said, okay, I want to hear, what do you guys say to people that come into this business? What do you say about the money? What do you talk about the money? And we all, every single one of us, I'm talking, it was the top leaders in the company that I was with at that event. And all of us looked at Sonara with a deer in headlights. We don't talk about the money because we're Canadian. And then somebody in my group said, no, it's because we're too nice. I said, well, that was ignorant because you just said Sonara wasn't nice. And I learned more at that event and at that table than I have in my entire network marketing career. And I changed leaps and bounds because of that conversation. Meeting you completely and utterly changed my life. Completely and utterly. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for trusting in me. You are a powerhouse, and anyone that's partnered, you all know how incredible she is, and you've just blessed my life in millions and millions of ways, and I just love you and adore you to death. So the training that you just got from Sonara, literally, I have to say, I just said to Dana, because everything she talked about, I am doing. And 99% of it is because of what I've learned from her. I am a red diamond. Mainly with the stuff I've learned from recruiting, because I came in, if any Canadians can relate, we're just kind of like, you know what? You can give this a try, and if it doesn't work, you can like just eat your kit, because we came from a food company. Oh, I don't say that. I don't say that anymore. And my recruiting style, very similar. So hearing you speak, I was just like, check, I'm doing that. And anyways, that was pretty cool to see. So today, and this just kind of goes in perfectly with my topic, so I'm going to talk to you about storytelling and how to develop presenters, and it just fits perfectly into what you've already heard this morning. I don't know how many of you, show of hands, was at convention in March and heard Misty and my storytelling training. Okay, cool. So lots and lots of feedback came out of that. So I'm not going to replicate that, but I'm going to kind of dive into it a little bit deeper. But what I would love to hear before I get into it, so really think about this, I would love a show of hands, and I want a couple of you to share. Who is here because of a story you heard? Not because of a compensation plan that you just saw, or a slide about Enrich. How many are here because you heard somebody's story? Only 3? Oh, there's gotta be more than that, guys. We have some work to do. Okay, Shireen, you wanna come up? I want you to share, what was the story you heard that brought you here? And then Amber, I'm calling on you because I know you're here from Bree Richardson's story.
I heard your story, Angela.
Oh, well, that's great. I didn't even.
Awesome. So I was presented the business through Shalane. Shalane knew I was also at another company, and that I would understand the compensation plan. I have a financial background in business, and she knew I would get it. And she also knew, like Sonara said, she was convicted that it was going to be better than what I had. Quick, it was easy. 10-minute coffee at my house. She told me how the build is here, and I said, unfortunately, I'm leaving tomorrow for my father-in-law's funeral, but I'm gonna get back to you. She said, you're going for a long drive to Saskatchewan. Do you want to talk to my friend Angela? while you're driving. I said, what about the perfect time? I have a 10-hour drive. I got on the phone with this woman. She told me her story, the story of her mom, the story of how she built this for her family. And the simple things, you know, you can talk about how the collagens has extremes or helped your hip and your knees. You know, those are fantastic. But when you can explain to somebody how you can build a business, that's what brought me in. So story about products, yes. Story about building a business and building a legacy for your girls, that,
Thank you. Who else before I get Amber up here? Because I know Amber's here because she heard Bree and something hit Amber's heart. Who else wants to share really quickly? You're here because of a story. Krista, you are. Come on. Okay, Sarah. Come on.
Okay, so I also was with another company, and I was not getting my financial needs met by any means. And a friend, a dear friend, called me and said, okay, let's find, we ignored Toronto. Okay, we knew it was here, over here, we ignored. That's a nice way of saying it. And then she called me and she says, okay, I'm gonna look. I need you to look with me. I just need another set of eyes when you look with me. So we started looking. We started looking at the comp plan and the numbers and those things. But what it was is we watched an overview. And there you were.
Oh, I didn't even know that. I'm thinking good.
And it struck me. And it struck me so deep. And again, it was when you talked about your mom. So the most important person to me in my entire life is my mother. My mom is my world. By everything she raises, she did everything. She gave me the most beautiful life I could ever imagine with nothing. But all the love. And so when you shared that you could do that for your mom, and I thought, okay, what in the actual F? Like, these other companies don't let me do that for my mom. I can't gift my mom everything and anything to pay her back. So that's what it was, and I just said, you know, what am I freaking waiting for? So I did wait another 3 weeks, because I was in my head, and I was in my head for 3 weeks trying to get all the questions answered, and then I finally just jumped. Because I just had to listen to this, and I remembered you, and I just said, you know what, I don't know this freaking woman, but if she can do that for her mom, why can't I do that for my mom? So, thank you.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing. And I did not know those stories were coming. Okay, one last, actually, come on up. And we all know, and I don't know if all of you know Amber's story. I think most of us do, but just, you're here because of, what was the story? What brought you here to Toronto?
So most of you guys know that I was looking for a company, so I always had my eyes open, kind of dipping in and looking at other companies and their compensation plans, their products, all these kinds of things. And I had known Bree Richardson just through the past. I had bought mascara from her when she's in her company, and la-di-da-di-da. We kind of cheered each other on over the years. I knew she was successful and at the top of her company, but I wasn't interested in joining that company that she was in, so it was kind of like whatever. And so I saw her leave where she was, and I started seeing her doing something different. And I was like, huh. And then she had kind of done a couple posts that made me think twice, and so I messaged her. And the minute I messaged her, she had written me back like 5 minutes later. I said, like, what are you doing? So she messaged me back like 5 minutes later, and the next day we were on a call with corporate. So it was me, Bree, and Craig Potter, our VP of Sales. And on that call, she shared with me her story, how she left her company and came to Toronto and left everything with that company and with her family. And she had even had a conversation with corporate, like, am I gonna lose my house? Am I gonna lose everything? And I was at a point in my life where I was so desperately looking for a company because I loved this profession and I knew the power of it and the magnitude of it, and I knew something deep inside me was made for more, and I didn't want to be at a company where I was making 2, 3, 4 grand. Thankful for it, but I knew there was so much more. And so she didn't share with me that raw, real part of what she did to get here and what was on the line and how corporate made her feel safe. I don't know what I would have done, but I felt really safe, and it was raw and it was real. And so when you are having these conversations, it's okay to be real and talk about what's on the line and how hungry you are and how safe you are here, because it changed it for me.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I bet you there's many here. I know Kim Zawadzki's here for this same reason, watching Amber. How long? Sharing her story, right? Thank you, Amber. 2 more. Dana, come on up. So a lot of people wonder, then I heard somebody ask the question, you know, how do you approach people that are with another company or have been doing this for a long time, et cetera, right? And you don't realize who is watching. So Dana and I have been friends for 20 years, and we met at my previous company, and her previous company, yeah. Dana's previous company, and we were in Greece in June, and we were in the pool sipping on some wine, and she said to me, I want to hear a little bit more about Tremont. I won't repeat for real what I said to her because it's being recorded, but I was like, shut the front door and don't mess around with me, like that's not funny, because I thought she was joking, and she started crying and said, I'm not joking. So I'm going to give her the mic and literally shocked me. I'm still in shock that she's here and she's sitting beside me. But I'm going to let her share her story on how my story impacted her and why she's here, or what helped her make that decision, and then I'll dive into it.
Okay, you need to warn me a little bit more about this. Well, when you have a best friend, you always cheer them on, no matter what. And when Angie was thinking of making this decision, and it was 20 months ago, it was super difficult for her. So I was like, you've got this. You will be able to do this. And so I've always been the cheerleader, and as good friends do. And then, and truly, it really wasn't until about 4 to 6 months ago that I thought, you know, I really thought my former company, I was there for life. I told people that. And thinking, you know what? There's more to this. There's more people to impact. There's more money to be made. There is more for my family, for my children. I mean, that has always stuck in my head, that you can build a position, you can build one for your mom, your husband, your kids, like Sonara has done. And so we started the conversation, had a few more bottles of wine. I watched a bunch of Bree Richardson videos literally while we were in the pool in Greece. And we started talking about a transition, about what that would look like, about a partner. Granted, my husband wasn't there, so I had to bring my husband aboard as well. Though he could see in me that where there once was a fire, it was just slowly dying. And I'm not one of those people. I was making great money. I won't say awesome money, but I was making great money. But I'm not one of those people that can show up, do the minimum, and take the paycheck. And so that weighed heavily on me, and also that my people were making less and less and less, and that weighed even heavier on me. So that is why I'm here today. 1 week in, maybe 8 days in, and thank you to Amber and Jennifer, who made this, and who said, you gotta come to the mountain. I'm like, okay. So
Thank you. Yeah, that is exactly. I didn't have her prep for that. She was going to say something else. But I was sitting there watching her, and I'm like, you know, you don't realize the power in your story as you're sharing it, right? Imagine if Bree never shared on social media about her move. None of us would be here. The power of the story. And I'll tell you who else wouldn't be here. If I didn't see something on social media, Darlene Weppler was doing a live with somebody who had a great product experience with the collagen because of torn meniscus. That is why I'm here. I don't read posts, I flip through them. It was a live video, and that is when I became a customer. I was a customer first because at my previous company, I was not allowed to do 2 businesses. I was making 6 figures, I was at the top, and I never even thought in a million years I would ever leave, okay? And I don't want to get off topic with that. But that is what brought me here as a customer. But it was also Darlene keeping me on that list that Sonara talked about, staying organized with that list, and every so often she reached out to me. And I am here today, and because of that and that courage, so are 11,000 more. I love you too. So, storytelling. So you guys get the power, right? That like how powerful stories can be. And the beautiful thing about that is, you know, we want to develop presenters. You heard, I don't know who asked the question, Nancy asked the question about whose video is it? It's yours. Each and every one of you have a story to tell. Your brand new people, they don't have a story yet if they're brand new. So you know what you teach them to do is they borrow somebody else's until they have their own. And that is why each and every one of us needs to be doing those lives with our people until they have their own story. Just like Darlene did with that, whoever that, I don't even know who she is. And that is the reason why I am here. And that's what you can do. And you give your new people that confidence when you're doing overviews, when you're doing lives, you get your people speaking, right? You get them sharing their stories because it gives them that confidence. Prior to convention, when I was asked to speak on storytelling with Misty, I spoke on one of Amber's Ruby calls and just kind of talked about storytelling a little bit. And what I shared, and I'm not going to get into the right and the wrong, but I'll tell you what's working for me. Once I started diving into storytelling, I stopped doing overviews with slides, with any facts. I learned all that from Eric Worre, believe it or not. Because before, when I was asked, I'm like, okay, I gotta make sure I'm really, I know storytelling, but I really wanted to, learn from the absolute best. And I watched Eric Worre a video, and he said, the first time people are seeing your company, they do not want to see the facts. This is in a video of his. He actually said, they don't care what's in your collagen. I don't think he was talking about Tronop, hopefully not. They don't care how long the company's been around. They don't care who owns it. They want to hear the stories. And that for me was like, ding, ding, ding. And it was in that moment that I completely changed the way I did overviews. I'm not gonna say other ways. If what you're doing is working, don't change it. But I'll tell you, it completely and utterly changed my business. So I spoke about that on one of Amber's Ruby calls. And my inbox was flooded by Ruby leaders and Sapphire leaders, some of you are here, that said, tears. I had a couple messages from a couple of the leaders in tears saying, thank you for giving me the permission to now be able to present. Because presenting the facts and all that other stuff made them terrified. Because people think that they need to sound like Michelle Nelson to present and talk about the products, or a nurse, right? So people are terrified to be able to talk about the products. But each and every one of us can talk about what Enrich did, what the collagen did, et cetera, et cetera. And that is where the people that are watching, whether it's a video, whether it's a live, whether it's a recording, whatever, that is where they're gonna relate. So, if you make this switch and literally take your storytelling to the next level, you will increase your business. It's crucial in recruiting, in building your team, and then the last one is selling. And I talk about that last because I actually don't have any customers. I don't. I have, since day one, led with the opportunity. I have shared my story. First of all, saying I've walked away from 17 years to start over. Not one person has said no to me. in the beginning when I came here, because they're like, okay, if you left, I want to hear what you've got. And then when I hopped on my very first Zoom with Trinot, I heard Bree Richardson's story. And I heard how she left her company. So if you don't have that story that you've left a company, you tell mine, you tell Bree's, right? You tell those stories, because you're gonna get other people like Dana Nicholson hearing that. That these people, I remember, I am nothing. Like, I was like, I just made 6 digits. Jen Dowd, Mindy Diebel, Bree Richardson, we have 7- and 8-figure earners that are leaving other companies to come here. You don't think that's a powerful story to tell when you're doing an overview? What do you think is more powerful? Telling stories like that or getting out a whiteboard? And I'm not dissing the whiteboard, I apologize if you use one. I don't. So, first of all, why you want to tell stories? It builds trust. Sonara had mentioned that. People don't join, people join you, right? So if they don't know you, when you start that by telling stories, they can relate. That's where the trust builds. That's where that relationship. So they watch the overviews or the recording or whatnot, and they're like, well, they hear that story, and it just makes you real, right? When you share your story as well, you want to talk about, I'll go back into relatable. You want to share a pain point, okay? So, and I'll talk to you exactly, I'll take you really through quickly what I do on an overview now. But you want to share a pain point because people can relate. So I talk about, like somebody said, everybody here has done a 9 to 5 before for the most part. Maybe some of you still do, but if you don't, so I share in my overviews. So this is how I talk about the compensation plan. I left 17 years. I was at the top of that company. I was earning 6 figures and I was not looking to make a move. I was a single mom, so still am, single mom, and I did not want to start over. And then I was invited to take a look at the opportunity. And when I did, when I saw the compensation plan, I knew the products were great, and I literally talked about the products for 8 seconds like Sonara. Collagen changed my life, I do share that, because it did. But then I talk about what I saw. And I didn't even see what it would do for me. All I saw was how my people could win. And everyday people without experience, I stress that, you do not need to have any network marketing experience to win here. And I talk about that on a live when I'm launching a new associate. I talk about that on an overview. And I'll get Dana to share because we are full in doing 1 million overviews right now, and I am batting 1,000. Every single person that's watched has joined her team. Every single one of them. So it also, like I said, makes them see themselves in that situation. So whether it's health-wise, like I related to this lady who had a torn meniscus injury, whether it's financial freedom, whether it's personal growth, okay? And I'll talk a little bit about community in a minute, but you guys are all leaving the mountain with the biggest story to tell, if you haven't already started telling it, about why people need to join this company, what we all experienced here. That is one of the hugest stories you can have, because people actually join this industry, believe it or not, for community. Because where they're at, they don't have a sense of belonging. At their 9 to 5 job, like, you don't do stuff like this, right? So regardless if they have a 9 to 5 job or not, when you start sharing out there what you're doing, the amount of people I've had reach out saying things like that to me, going, oh my goodness, you're always traveling, you're in Vegas, you're in, well, they don't say Utah, but sorry, you know. You know, so you want to share that experience. So it shares a vision, and it shares a lifestyle that other people can aspire to. And like I said, when I'm doing I pretty much do a full-on overview, just short. When I'm launching somebody's brand new business, I do an overview. I shorten it, because when I've got people on a Zoom, you know, it might be 25 or 30 minutes. But when I'm doing somebody's live, it's literally an overview, but just condensed. And that is where, like, oh my goodness, I have 1 million stories of when that person, like, what a great start for that new associate to get off on. When she's brand new, she doesn't even have her bundle yet in the mail, and her inbox is already exploding, because the way that I share a little bit about the products and what this business can do, we are growing 300% growth, like in a time that people are needing, oh my goodness. When I came here 2 years ago, the world was hard, not like today. People are looking for a second, a third, a fourth stream of income, right? So you want to be sharing those stories. And I am somebody that I can say, like, I'm way better than I was. I hated social media. That is not how I built up my previous company. So a lot of people think I've had success here because I've done this for 17 years. Bree actually reminded me of that. She's like, you're actually brand new. Like when I came here, I was brand new. Network marketing and direct sales, you guys, oh man, it is two different animals. If anyone's ever done home parties. I literally was in people's kitchens, belly to belly. When I came here, I had never been live before. Never been live. Other than during COVID, I had to start doing some cooking classes online. But I knew, and I'm telling you, I was petrified, absolutely petrified to go live. But I knew that that's the way I had to get my story out there. And the very first live that I did, Amber did it for me. You know, Amber shared her story, and then I shared mine again. And just literally, my inbox is still from that live. I am still getting messages from people. So another reason, it creates that emotional connection, okay? A well-told story evokes feelings. And that is when people tend to make the most decisions, is when you can touch on their feelings. That is when people make some of the biggest decisions in their lives. And when you share the facts, hang on just one sec, sorry. I can't read my writing because I don't have my glasses on. Which part? Oh, it evokes emotion, and that's when people make the most decisions. When they are feeling that emotion, when you can pull at, you know, their heart. You heard, and I did, you know, you guys, my mom's story. Oh my goodness. And thank you, Sarah and Shireen, for reminding me of that, because I don't tell that story enough. I tell it all the time in overviews, but I don't share it live enough. I went live a year ago with my mom. She's an emerald today. My mom is 76 years old. She made $80,000 last year. She needed $500 or $600 more to be able to make ends meet. So I signed her up at the top of one of my legs. Didn't even have a clue what was happening. It's changed her life. And I don't tell that story enough. Tell my mom's story. Tell that story, because you have no idea who out there is looking for a way for their parents, their children. I know that's a big reason why Dana is here. She has been watching what has happened. My son is driving a Jeep. You guys, if your kids are driving Jeeps, if your family members have positions, you need to shout those stories from the stinking rooftops. And if you don't have one yet, you share somebody that does. I'll go live. Oh my goodness, my mom was the cutest thing. She's like, when do we get to go live again? She's the cutest thing. So it makes you different from others, okay? Anybody can get the information about Trinont from anybody. But what makes you stand out is your story, right? And we all have a different story. It makes you memorable, and it differentiates you from everybody else. And that is what people love. So when I do the compensation plan talk, like I said, I used to, and again, I'm not saying anything's wrong. So I start off saying, I came from 17 years, I came here, the compensation plan was like nothing I'd ever seen before. And I'll touch on that in a minute, and I say that on the overview. Then I share a little bit about my success with the collagen, because it changed my life, because people can relate. Maybe they don't have sore knees or this or this or this. I share my story and my mom's story. And then if I can't get somebody on to share an enriched story, I tell Marcy McQueen's story. Marcy McQueen is a girl on my team who has Crohn's, and that Enrich changed her stinking life from 10 years of taking morphine 5 days a week to 0. I share that, and people literally are like, I see the eyes like that, okay? Don't everybody go message Marcy and ask to go live, but those are the kind of stories, right? Now, if those were associates on my team, well, it was her in the very beginning. That gave her that power. Now she's doing overviews herself, you know, and that was kind of the building that presenter in her when she joined last June. Another thing that stories will do is it creates consistency across platforms, the social media. So you want to be consistent with your story, whether it's social media, whether it's an overview, whether you're doing an in-person meeting or in-person presentation. It reinforces your brand, and once again, just makes you memorable and makes you stand out. You want to share other people's testimonies from different perspectives, like I just said, from team members. This is where, my goodness, the ripple effect and the ultimate glow up, those two resources are gold, gold. So you hear all the time talking about ATM. Sonara, look at me. Sorry, that's an inside joke. Ad tag message for those of you that don't know that. So what I will do is, you know, we're adding our people in there. But even more, in the Ultimate Glow Up, Amber's group, she has actually made a group where it's business and products. That is gold. So be tagging people in there that can hear people sharing stories like this, right? And if they're not in there, I'll tell you what I do often is I'll take screenshots and just send it to people and let them read stories that you know are relatable. Like that testimony group, so many people that I have joining, and Dana now has joining, says, how do you learn about the products? I'm like, you don't need to learn anything about the products. Literally just go into those 2 testimony groups and just read. That's where you learn. Because you want to be able to talk about that story, not, because this is how I used to do overviews. So this is the collagen, and there is, I don't even remember what I used to say, because I don't say it anymore. 10 grams of collagen and 3 grams of this, and blah, blah, blah. And there's biotin, and there, I swear to God, ask Sonara. That's what we did in the very beginning, and there's biotin and dead, blah, blah, blah. And I know, for me, when I was watching those overviews in the beginning, and I have ADD, no one surprised me, I was like, I don't want to hear that. What touched me and my heart was when I heard people on those overviews sharing those experiences. When I heard Brie and Amber's story about the business. I don't give 2 flying you-know-whats about what is in any product. Okay? Now, what I do say though is, because there are people that do, right? So then I do say, and if you want any more information, please reach out to the person who invited you. We will get you every single ingredient. We will get you an ingredient list. We will give you a copy of the compensation plan. Okay? I don't do the whiteboard. What I do say is, you partner with me, exact same thing that Sonara said about the platinum. It's the only one I talk about, the only one. And I say, I don't know anybody's budget here on this Zoom, and your budget actually is none of my business, but I'll tell you, if you're here to build a business and make money, the platinum is where it's at. And then I do an analogy of a grocery store, and I'm like, if you were opening up a brand new grocery store, are you gonna fill the fruits and the vegetables, and then next month get the dairy, and then the next month get the bread? Or are you gonna fill that whole damn grocery store on night 1? Because if you partner with me and follow the most incredible systems that our upline has created, I will show you how to get that investment back in your first 30 days and more, if you're willing to do the work and partner with me. So that helps with that switch when people are worried about the money for that platinum. How many people get that money back with all those incredible Jade bonuses? And wait till you guys see what's coming to that comp plan. It's even better. Even better. So a couple of tips around storytelling. You gotta be authentic. If you're not, they will know it's forced. You won't come across as genuine. You wanna focus on those emotions. So the facts, you guys hear that saying, facts tell, right? But man, oh man, do the stories sell. You wanna keep it simple. You want to keep it clear and concise, because that is way more impactful. You want to, I already said use testimonies. I got that written down about 10 times because that is the reason why I'm there, why I'm here. You want to tailor your story and adjust your narrative depending on your audience. So if you are doing an overview where you can, you want to kind of find out who's going to be on there. Because I have changed a little bit of the story depending on who's watching. If I've got a bunch of corporate, I was going to say corporate American people, goodness, I wish they were all on my overviews. But you've got a bunch of corporate people, a bunch of people that, they're here to make money. You're going to focus more on that than, well, because my story is, I was on mat leave and I was a social worker and, wow. So I really do kind of adjust that story based on that. So I think that touches on really just the developing presenters is just so, we don't want it always just being us, right? We don't want it always being us. And the more that we invite, first of all, how empowering when you ask somebody on your team, you know what, I would love you to come on and share your story. Oh my God, you guys, nobody says no to that. If they are invited on, I remember I was brand new here and Jen Dowd invited me to share a story. Oh goodness, I felt like I had died and gone to heaven. It was such an honor. And that's exactly how they feel when you guys ask, right? And the more that we ask, the more people that is your future leaders there, that you are developing and grooming and getting them to present the opportunity. You hear Craig talk about that all the time. So I'm gonna ask Dana just to come up here and share really quickly. This part she knew about, the other part she didn't. So I just want her, just coming from a perspective of, come on up. So we have been doing overviews for about 9 or 10 days, okay? And Dana doesn't know any different from what I was doing, okay? So I want Dana just to kind of share her experience and kind of what she's heard her new people talk about. So we were doing live presentations, but what Dana and I did is we actually made a super clean version with nobody on it. It's like 25 minutes, and we just did an overview that is getting sent, like literally. She's got messages galore here going, sign up, sign up, sign up, because they're watching this recording. Because at first I panicked, I'm like, oh my goodness, what do we do while we're at the mountain? Oh, I know, let's do a video. So, and that's exactly what we did. As soon as we got home, that is when the Facebook Lives will start. And like I said, on those live launches, oh God, you guys, this is huge. When you are launching a new associate, that is where you want to keep the facts, like all those facts off. I remember in my, many months, my beginning months, I'm on there. You know how you see 32 watching, 20 watching, and I'm holding up the collagen, literally reading the bottle, talking about what's in it. And I see 20, 19, 18, 17. People are hanging up. But when you're talking about, when I talk about what the collagen did for me, my mother, I talk about Marcy's story. Those people aren't hanging up because they can either relate or they know somebody. The DHS, I won't even get into that. What a stinking story that is. We've got our hands on gold. And if you don't have a DHS story, go into the Ripple Effect or the Ultimate Glow Up and get those stories and get posting them, because the world needs that frigging system. So I'm gonna let Dana kind of share her experience over the last week and a bit.
A week and a bit, yeah. Powerful. So stories, 100%. Like, it is just, I knew that before, though watching just eyes go boop, 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 as Anne just sharing about a little bit about the products, about Marcy McQueen, about her own story. And then when Angela talks about the compensation plan, it's just boom. And the duplication. So the biggest thing for the people that I'm inviting from my former company, it is that there is simple duplication and systems, and you're not recreating the wheel. Yes, people want to hear your story in time when you have one, but my gosh, that Ripple Effect group, I am mind blown. Like, I don't even want to go in there because I just go down a rabbit hole, right?
Yes.
I'm putting people in there, so that is so powerful. And even to, like you said, screenshot some of those stories, though truly it has just been, like, we're doing three a day of inviting people because we have different time zones to cover, and it's just working.
Yeah.
It is working, and it is because of those stories. I know people would go to sleep if it was just facts about the products or facts about the compensation
100%.
plan.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. So yeah, that's really it, guys. I just, we could go on and on and on and talk about when we were at convention, just kind of how to just do it. Like I said, everybody has a story, but when you can make it that relatable and share about, I mentioned that what I say about my social worker job is, so when I do my overviews, I do say, so I was a social worker for about 20 years, and I was working shift work, and all over the place, 12-hour days, and I went for sometimes 2 and 3 days without seeing my son. Who am I relating to, people watching, right? So I still say that, even though that was a lifetime ago. I've been doing direct sales, and then I talk about what this industry has done. I was able to be a single mom, stay at home with my kids, all that kind of stuff. So again, you are connecting with those people who maybe it's not them, but they can think of, oh my goodness, my best friend right now is like living the rat race, and she would love to see her kids more, et cetera, et cetera. So thank you guys for just everything. What a phenomenal experience. I wanted to talk a little bit more about, and I'm not going to because that will come out in another thing that I'm going to do for Jen, just around this event itself, in really truly what it has done, and just the story that we can tell when we go out of here. So I have the pleasure and the honor of calling up Amber, who, goodness, there is not enough words and not enough time to be able to say to her, like, the love and the gratitude and the appreciation that that I have, that my entire team has, and I know I can speak for each and every person here. You know, you guys heard me say